Concise, no-stall Lupa build guide. If you're one of the based players skipping Cartethia for Lupa, then respect, because I mean, come on, she just looks better, alright? Like, I mean, what are we talking about here? But enough glazing. Let's jump right into her best broad blades, echoes, Teamcomps, and sequence node value. Let's begin with looking at her signature. So, Wildfire Mark has a crit damage stat, which is already pretty good, but the real value comes from its passive. Here's the list of all the buffs it provides. It's a ton. It's far better than all the other options, but if you're not one of the people pulling for her limited 5-star, then she does have many other options. So Jian's and Jinshi's signatures are very good, providing crit and somewhat useful passives. Lustrous Razor will be her best semi free-to-play option. I mean, you can select it if you want it, and if you've already used your selector, you can change your standard banner onto Lustrous Razor. But if you don't have it and you're not close to getting it, then we can cover her best 4 stars. Autumn Trace will be best, but it is Battle Pass. So her best in slot free-to-play 4-star option will be Helios Cleaver. It gives a chunky amount of attack from the stat and the passive. And then if you don't even have that, I guess the weaker option you can use is Waning Redshift, but it's just worse. Not really worth it. Moving on to Echo sets, it's pretty obvious that her best in slot is the new Fusion set, Flaming Clawprint. No other set should be built for her, and the best main Echo you want to put in her main Echo slot will be Lioness of Glory. It's the new Overlord class enemy. And with a cost spread of 43311, the best Echo main stats will be crit rate or damage, whatever you need more of, double fusion damage, and double attack percent. She does not need much ER. Lupa's ideal substats, in order of importance, will be crit rate and crit damage first, attack percent, liberation bonus, because that's where a majority of her damage comes from, and then a little energy regen if you need it. Now let's get into her team comps and role Lupa plays. So right off the bat, her best comp by far will be herself with Changli and Brant. This new mono fusion comp will be insane when she comes out. Each and every unit here buffs the next with no real main DPS. It's more so just a bunch of DPS units coming together, constantly nuking and applying a ton of damage. Also, I think Brant is super underrated. He's really fun to play and really strong. Some other DPSs that Lupa can buff will be first Encore, since she gives a 20% fusion amp and 25% basic amp. Encore gets buffed like crazy, actually making her the best teammate for Encore. Xixia also gets value, although less so since she's mostly skill damage, but regardless still good. Changli is perfect when paired with Lupa, so if you want to do some sort of quick swap dual DPS with a support who isn't Brant, then a comp like this works well with Shorekeeper or Verena as the best supporters. If you want to hyper carry Lupa specifically, then Changli, like I said before, but also more Tefi, is surprisingly strong, providing a heavy damage buff, which is a decent amount of her on-field personal damage, plus you can run the new fusion set. Although I really do suggest running Lupa in mono fusion comps so that you can stack that new set, plus so much of her kit relies on 2 other fusion characters to get much more value. Then finally we'll cover how good her nodes are, see if they change her build at all. S1, when she ults, she recovers 10 Concerto energy and gains 20% crit rate, then gains immunity when casting Forte, so the 20% crit rate is the big part here, and it's pretty solid. This only changes how much crit rate you build, that's it. It's a very good S1 for sure. S2, performing an ult, heavy attack, or mid-air attack, gives the entire team, including herself, 20% fusion damage bonus, up to 2 times for a total of 40%. So this is a very good stopping point to make this already good sub DPS and even more broken sub DPS. It has a ton of value, even more so in mono fusion, and it doesn't really change her build or playstyle at all. It's just passive buffs. S3, damage multiplier of intro increases by 100%, that's whatever, and her liberation passive buffs no longer require 3 fusion resonators. Additionally, the glory buff changes, so usually you need 3 fusion resonators to get 15% fusion resistance, but now it's more universal and triggers right away. So this node doesn't increase damage that much, barely at all actually, but it just makes her a bit more universal, even though her outro buffs are still limited. To be honest, this node is kind of mid, but makes her slightly more usable in comps outside mono fusion. S4, damage multiplier of her enhanced skill from her Forte is increased by 125%. Decent DPS increase, it's a big chunk of her damage. S5, Lupa's intro now gives 15% liberation bonus for 10 seconds. Kinda mid for an entire node, but it's passive damage, I guess. Then S6, of course it's another paragraph. So, the damage dealt by her enhanced skill Forte, liberation, and intro all ignore 30% defense. Lupa's second resonant skill restores full Forte. Her regular Forte is replaced with her enhanced and can be used outside of her liberation state, plus intro no longer ends pack hunt and glory buffs. This node essentially gives her a big damage buff because a lot of her kit stops being locked behind conditions that need to be met through her rotations. plus some attacks ignore defense. Nothing that changes her build. I would honestly suggest staying at S2, and even then it's nothing crazy. Like S1 is also really solid. With all that being said, her signature is the most valuable additional pulls you can make, so go for that over everything else. It's pretty clear that Lupa will bring a somewhat scuffed fusion meta into a top tier one. Brant and Changli are both good, but nothing like Carlotta. Now with Lupa being added, I can definitely see these two characters being one of the top in TOA and Whimpering Wastes.